Broncos pod, baby. We are drafting the biggest offseason moves for Denver, getting into the draft picks, the big free agents, re-signing DJ Jones, maybe retaining Vance Joseph. Where does it all fall? And then a little sliding doors, looking how the Broncos have approached the last two off seasons versus how some other teams in a similar situation have approached that. And maybe even if there's time, 2026 needs, we shall see. Tune in, starting now. Live from the Toyota Lounge in downtown Denver on the corner of Colfax and York, right above the DNVR Bar. It's the DNVR Broncos show. Hell yeah. And we are taking it over, Jake. In fact, I was so tempted to just go DNVR Draft Pod.
I almost screamed Buff Nation at the beginning.
Right? Yeah, it's kind of that vibe. Friday show. And yeah, of course, we are driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, let's go places. I got to get these tweets out. Schwan, man, if you don't know him, Jake Schwanitz, our host of the Great Buff Show, and my co-host on the Draft Pod, which I double dutied yesterday. Thank you, those who reached out and gave me some really nice messages, especially the regular Draft Pod listeners who reach out and show the love. Those are my people. I would do anything for those people.
You just stole the words right out of my mouth.
They're the best.
They're my favorite.
They are the best. Bless you. Bless you for all that you do. Thank you so much for listening. Just know my love for you knows no bounds. So I really appreciate it. That's right. Our love for you knows no bounds. So thank you so much. That was really nice to see. If you missed it, go back and check the Draft Pod. We have some fun stuff to get into, though, today.
Yeah, I'm hyped.
I actually think, like, when Zach heard me propose this, he was like, damn, we should have done that.
I mean, I legit took one of the ideas from this show for the Buff Show. So
what's better than that? You guys doing this on Buffs?
We will at some point. We'll do sliding doors at some point.
Okay, I love that. And yeah, then, I think it's our last chance on air. Well, you'll have the Buff Show to congratulate RK and Allie on their nuptials, coming up this weekend. It's also part of why we're taking over the show. So yeah, congrats to those guys. So much love to them
RK and
as well. We've got a game. We're starting things off with a draft, which I think is in line with a Friday Broncos show. Yes, Yaya?
Yes,
but usually third segment. We're starting off the bat with a draft, but it's not some silly draft, It's not like
drafting best future songs.
It's the little things draft, and I'm taking like Hoodie on the first cold day of spring,
That's a vibe,
though. It would be. It's the little things draft would low-key be an amazing one, but I won't let myself get sidetracked. Please, Lord, don't sidetrack me today, because we are drafting biggest offseason moves for the Broncos this offseason. And I guess biggest should be like projecting most impactful in a sense.
Okay.
So basically anything's on the table. And the choice is yours as a true guest, though a longtime contributor to this and all the football beats here at DNVR. Do you want the first pick or do you want the turn 2-3? Because we are snake drafting.
I'm taking the turn.
Okay. Okay, I love that for you.
I
Very
always forget
good.
that aspect of the draft. I always want to go first, but then I realize that the turn is actually where you want to be.
Yeah. So yeah. I guess I don't need you to fire up the draft board. We will do it. To me, there was one clear cut, kind of best of them all,
Okay.
a tier of their own type deal. Do you know what I'm gonna say?
I don't.
And to me, it's Evan Ingram. To me, it's Evan Ingram.
That was going to be my first pick.
Okay, so we do agree. Just of you to
Yes.
not give away what could have potentially been like my fourth pick, you know. You got to hold it close to the vest. Yeah, no doubt. Ingram, to me, adding that size, adding that veteran target, giving that identity to the receiver group, because now you're adding Ingram to a room that already has Cortland Sutton, to a room that's already pretty blessed with size and big targets. And just his versatility in this offense, how he's going to be utilized. I just think it checks off so many boxes. What he means for Bo's development, this passing attacks development. I just think it all lines up to where he's a clear-cut one. And then I think there's a big, like, group of 3 or 4 that you can get into and debate on the next one. But to me, most impactful first overall pick is Evan Ingram. And I look forward to hearing who you go 2 and 3, because I need to get this tweet out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the right first overall pick. There's so many additions to the defense. Spent your first round draft pick. You get 2 big free agents at positions of need, really, for this team as well. And the defense was already good at that point, right? Already one of the best in the NFL. So you needed help in terms of what we talked about this entire offseason, the Joker, right? That's your Joker. That's the most impactful move of the offseason. And as you mentioned, Bo's development kind of takes the lead. I'm going to go with RJ Harvey then.
Man.
Kind of sticking with that thinking.
Ball knower. I thought maybe I could slip this one by and you go defense, but I had this moment where, like, the more I was thinking about it, the more I was like, man, is RJ Harvey like second on this board? Mm-hmm. Good on you. Good on you, Jake.
Thank you. I mean, the Broncos needed a running back. We all knew that.
Yeah.
Maybe not the one that we all envisioned, but I mean, hopefully a lot of Broncos countries come around, because RJ Harvey's a very exciting player. He's a home run threat out of the backfield. We'll see how much we get out of him in the receiving game, but in terms of just the contact balance, the toughness, the running with like anger and like passion almost, I absolutely love the pick. So he's going to be massive for this team. And as we talked about on draft day, I mean, if the Broncos end up making a run in the next 2 to 3 years, chances are RJ Harvey has a massive, massive part of that.
Yep, 100%. And I mean, the utility in the passing game is what I think could be really huge. We didn't see a ton of it. I worry about maybe the hands not being the most natural, but you get this guy in space. I mean, you were in Orlando for that game, UCF against Colorado, and you saw him. That was what, like a 60-yard touchdown?
75.
Just on a little wheel route?
Yep.
And he was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, if he gets a linebacker, a safety in space, hands be darned, like, he is going to create space in a hurry.
Yeah, he's just a weapon. He's an all-around weapon. If he does flesh out that receiving part of his game, he becomes the second Joker in line after Evan Ingram, which, I mean, again, we talked so much about it this offseason. That has to be the biggest pick. I'm going with Talanoa Hufanga next.
Ooh.
I could have stuck with the offense, and I nearly did. But having him at safety is going to change a lot of things for this secondary. Just having him being able to impact both the run and pass game is huge. But also you get an upgrade in that department too from PJ Locke, I think. And that's just, I think if you have one real weakness on the defense from last year, especially in that playoff game, something that shone through was the safeties, I thought. PJ Locke in particular, so you get an upgrade there. I think that's going to be, it's like an attitude kind of acquisition for the Broncos this offseason too. That defense has even more of an edge now because of Hufanga. So yeah.
Probably just personally my favorite signing of the offseason.
I mean, besides Evan Ingram, yes. So that's why he's going second round here.
Such a tone setter. And I mean, I think similar to Jahdae Barron, it is a movable piece in that secondary and back seven. Obviously, Barron may be more coverage focused. He's more of that factor against the run, and on top of being an intimidator over the middle of the field, to where, I think he could really make your sub-package defense feel like base defense because of the physicality and downhill ferocity and competitive edge he brings to the table. So,
exactly.
I like that. And look at us, draft guys, but 2 of our first 3 picks are, in fact, free agents. We know ball.
Get ready. The draft picks are coming.
Yeah, the draft picks are indeed coming. Going 5 rounds, which I thought was going to be fun. Boys, some real
talk?
punter love in the Toyota chat. You love to see that. Leave us a thumbs up also, by the way, because I'd love to insult Zach, RK, and Henry and be like, I got more likes, I got more views. So if you could help me out with that, that would be tremendous. Also, Yaya, low key, you guys don't know this. Yaya talks a lot of smack, so that'd be a good one for him to have in the back of his pocket when they get a little sassy with him and be like, Dre and Jake got more likes than you, so shut up. So just keep that in mind, okay, please. Okay. At the turn, my dream was that RJ Harvey could have dropped here to the second round. He doesn't for me. Astute pick by you. Along those lines of RJ Harvey, though, I think the run game, both sides of the ball, is the big theme of this offseason. Maybe the big theme that's not Joker inspired, at least. So give me Dre Greenlaw, Dre drafted by Dre stick together. I would never let him go to another team. How could I? Give me Dre Greenlaw, a guy who, if there weren't the injury concerns, would have been, one of those signings that happen in like the first 25 minutes of free agency opening or tampering period opening, not even free agency. Because this guy, his cover ability, the competitive edge he plays with, the extra ability he gives you on third down to be an effective blitzer, an effective cover guy, come up with big interceptions. The range he has as a cover linebacker. And the fact that he was able to play off Fred Warner. Fred Warner is the best cover linebacker in the league, So a guy who's so good and so rangy in coverage is having to do more of the dirty work stuff because he's already got the best cover linebacker in the league. What happens when Alex Singleton takes some of the dirty work off his plate and he gets to get his Fred Warner on? I think the impact could be absolutely huge. I think this defense is poised to have a huge year, but above everything else, of all the guys they've added this offseason, I would argue the biggest factor in improving in that area that really doomed you in the wild card round, stopping the run. Dre Greenlaw can be the biggest answer in defending that, remedying the issue. So injuries aside, I could not be more excited about that offseason acquisition.
And the first time the Broncos really invested at that position, at least in free agency, for
ages.
I can't even remember the last time they went out and actually got a top of the market linebacker.
Yeah, where's Jose when we need him? He's always talking linebacker. Is it DJ Williams? Is there someone that qualifies as more high profile than the last first round linebacker you had? I guess Nate Irving is a top 100 pick at the position, which Drew Sanders is too.
I mean, unless you count re-signing or extending Todd or Brandon Marshall or something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
you let Danny Trevathan walk.
Yep.
Crazy, man. Okay. And I'm going to get a little more build up and anticipation for my next pick, because first we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, I will have that pick for you. But first, new sponsor alert?
Oh, new partner. Let's go.
Hall of Fame app. That's right, friends. HOFBets.com. I am signed up, and let me tell you, this isn't a betting app. This is a way to get into all the stats related to what's going on, the games that are happening tonight. I'm on the app right now. They hooked it up, and it's a beautiful thing. They've got their parlay optimizer. They've got deep stats. They've got leaderboards. They've got trends, NBA, NHL, college basketball, soccer, MLB, college football, NFL. I got to get a little deeper on this to see what futures and stuff they have. I'm on the Nikola Jokic page. All sorts of exciting stuff to have. You can alter Jokic's points to see what kind of lines and odds you would get on that prop. You can change that to rebounds, to assists, points plus assists. And this is just the player stats section of it, right? So it's a really, really cool app. You got a 7-day free trial to check it out, see how you like it. And then our listeners get an exclusive 50% off their first month. You can download the HOF app or visit HOFBets.com and use code DNVR at checkout. That's right. For a limited time only, our listeners not only get a 7-day free trial, but they also get 50% off their first month when they use code DNVR at checkout. Just download the HOF app on iOS and Android or visit HOFBets.com. Enter code DNVR and you are all set. Check them out. Very cool app. And another app we want to give a shout out. It's our banking app, First Bank. Whether on the road or at home or somewhere in between, First Bank makes banking easy, convenient, and secure. Their mobile banking app allows you to check balances, pay friends, and manage your money anytime, anywhere. And here's the best part. Open a new First Bank checking account today, and you could earn $300. First Bank is all about helping you stay on track. Their tools make it simple to stay in control of your finances without the hassle. No matter where life takes you, First Bank gives you the freedom to bank how and when it works best for you. So if you're ready for better banking and the chance to earn a little extra, head to efirstbank.com/bonus. That's the letter E, spelling out first, FIRST, bank, BANK.com/bonus to open your account, bank how you want, when you want with First Bank. Certain restrictions and requirements apply. Member FDIC. Okay. I think I'm going to go Jahdae Barron with the round 3 pick.
That's the right pick.
We're back from the break. Hello. Leave us a thumbs up, Toyota chat. Bring us some question, Schwan man, ready to bring it. He's got
Always.
Answers for you, He's a diehard Broncos fan.
All I have is guys. The answers, Trey. Thank you.
Exactly right. So good. Also, look at Yaya just going first name, last name. Like, ain't no thing for him.
He's a pro.
He is a pro. He can't be stopped. Right. I like Barron. I think the insurance of having another competent corner, huge, because that's been such an issue for years for that Broncos secondary. The second one of those starting corners goes down, even if it's like your starting nickel, the like downhill effects of that are tremendous and not in a positive way. The versatility and ability for VJ to really confuse opposing play callers, quarterbacks by moving him around, having him as your defensive joker is going to be massive. And then he's an older prospect who's got some real chops, had 5 interceptions in the SEC on his way to a Thorpe Award. He's going to be an immediate contributor and be a bit of a tone setter in that secondary. So, we were talking yesterday through that corner class and how, like, I was amazed he's as big weight-wise as, like, all the other top guys.
Yeah.
So you think of him as an undersized corner, which he is, height, especially lengthwise, that arm length. But he's going to surprise you with some of the pop he has and some of the aggression he plays with, especially where maybe he's not in off coverage, just reading everything and coming down. So yeah, very excited for Jahdae Barron, and I hand it off to you, my friend.
Yeah, good pick. I mean, it's a lot like the PS2 pick, I think, a few years ago, where as time goes on, people are just realizing and getting more of a liking to how good of a pick and how impactful this pick could be, even though it's something we maybe didn't necessarily project or even need at that point in the draft.
We were starting to just touch on guys like him, Malachi Starks, and Anuari.
Yeah.
And then Hufanga gets picked up, and we kind of put him to the side, you know?
Yep. It's how it goes.
It is how it goes. It is how it goes.
So there's 3 defensive guys on the board right now, so I'm going to have to say keeping Vance Joseph.
Dang, that's a good one.
Just the continuity with this defense.
That's a good one.
What they built last year, I mean, they obviously surprised a lot of people. Not many people expect this team to even be decent, around 500. A lot of people thought this was one of the worst rosters in the NFL. And then Vance Joseph, too, a guy who was really kind of picked apart when he came back. He had the terrible Miami game, all that stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people were trying to get him out. He just put his head down, kept working. And now we're staring at one of the best defenses in the NFL with 3 massive additions right there on the draft board, too. So just having that continuity, allowing these guys another year in this system, and then adding a tool like Jahdae Barron to make you even more versatile in the secondary with that safety and linebacker in Greenlaw and Hufanga, keeping Vance Joseph for sure.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Could have gone higher, honestly.
That's a really good. I mean, arguably could have been the first defensive pick you could make the argument for. Yeah. No, that's a tremendous value on your end. Tremendous value.
Thank you.
Yeah, save that Daniel Sepp question for later on Barron's utility and how early we could see him. We see you, Daniel. We'll get to it. Thank you all in the Toyota chat. Keep it coming. Leave us a thumbs up. Your pick again, round 4.
Yep.
Will he? Yeah.
This is a drop off here,
pick
right?
Time. It drops off. Yeah. I'd say so. I think that's fair.
Not a big Sam Ellinger fan?
I mean, I love Sam Ellinger, dude. Honestly, keeping the quarterback low key, Jared Stidham, the re-signing, keeping that together, that relationship with him and Bo, that's big time.
You can take that.
I'm not gonna take that here. I mean, maybe later. You can take that with your next pick if you want.
Yeah, Sam Ellinger is going to take up my pick, and then I've got a punter, so my hands are full. I'm sorry, Jake.
No, I'm taking Pat Bryant.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
We'll see exactly where he fits in to this offense, where he lines up in the depth chart, in the coming months and stuff. But Sean obviously saw something in him. I mean, he wasn't necessarily on our radar, but it's another guy. You go back and you watch the film. I mean, he had 3 clutch game-winning touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
He's been a 4-year player. He's played a lot of football already.
4 years, I believe. Yes.
Team captain, all that stuff. And I think that I thought the Broncos needed more of like a pure, kind of a Joker type, I guess, but like a pure route runner, pure slot type player for this offense. But you get a guy in Pat Bryant who you can move around, you can line up on the outside. He does have pretty good route running.
Yeah.
I think he's going to make some sort of impact. And I mean, honestly, this is the highest drafted wide receiver since Judy Hamler.
Yeah.
At least in the Sean Payton era, right?
Well, how high did Mims go?
He was a 3rd rounder. Was he? Second or third? Okay, either way. Give me Pat Bryant. We'll see what Vele, Franklin, and all those guys can do this year. But this guy was taken for a reason, and he's going to have an impact.
Yeah, for sure. I think you got really good value with those 2 picks.
Thank you.
I really do. Well done by you. Yes, Mims was the last pick of the 2nd round.
Okay, my bad.
But I mean, whatever. It's in that range. You have 3 young wide receivers who were all right in that top 100 range.
Right.
Nice. Nothing like a "What have you been up to?" text from a number you don't know.
Ask him to. Bro, are you asking if they're subscribed to the channel and giving the pod a like, though? Dropping the link?
I don't want these people to know anything about me. I just delete report junk. Oh, man. You know what though, Jake?
What up?
There was clear Pat Bryant was a great pick. Clearly, that was kind of a tier of its own.
Mm-hmm.
You disregarded DJ Jones being re-signed.
That I did.
I can't talk run defense without highlighting the importance of re-signing DJ Jones. Not to mention, I think if you don't get that, the draft strategy is totally different.
You're absolutely right.
You have to address that in one of your first 3 picks. And yeah, this allowed them to kind of like Derek Harmon's pick the pick after Jahdae Barron, and they're kind of fine with that, right? You've got 3 guys on that defensive front in Roach, Zach Allen, and JFM, whose contracts are up next offseason. I think that'll be a big topic for your draft needs in next season. Well, DJ Jones helps that. He addresses, the run defense, which is such a key part. And he was the one potential starter from last year's, historic defense that was in limbo, and you're able to retain him, keep the entire defense together.
You're right.
So I'll give DJ Jones the bump here. And now, come on, it's draft time.
Which one you going with?
Part of me wants to just go Crawshaw and like give the chat what they want,
Yeah.
I'm also trying to approach this very much from how will this age if this graphic popped up on someone's Twitter feed in 8 months,
They needed a punter. I mean,
They need a punter.
You
know what happened is I'm a bit scarred by Riley Dixon and his first stint as a rookie.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best.
No, it wasn't. It was quick.
But he was an Australian. The vibes, if you're an
Aussie
Aussie punter, is just like, Savion Jones me up. You're adding Savion Jones to a defense that already led the league in sacks last year. You've got this JFM situation in limbo. I think, between him, Court, and Zach Allen, Benito, the guys who are kind of up in the air, maybe a smidge, he's probably the most likely to be foot out the door. And those big edge rushers, I think he could really be a contributor on Rizzy's a great call. Holy cow, Broncos tube. Great call by you. Anyway, Savion Jones as an interior rusher, a JFM replacement, a little Jonathan Cooper insurance, just more size on that front. I've really gone in on the front 7 size run defense. Give me Savion Jones to close it out. All will be well.
I nearly took Savion Jones in the 4th round, so good pick. We talked about it on the draft pod and on draft day. I think it's a guy we really like, his potential. Violent player, too.
Yes.
Just a lot of fun
how you
to
said
watch.
violent there.
Shout out Darren Rizzi.
Big time. Shout out the Rizzler. We see you. We stand a king.
I've got something else, though, I think.
Oh, man.
How about not trading up in the draft?
Wow. Yeah.
Or retaining future capital, I guess.
Yep. Being able to make all your picks. Yes.
That too, making all your picks, because there's a lot of talk. Coming into this draft, right? Do you make the move up for one of these tight ends? Do you come up for Genty? Even with the Barron pick, I think a lot of people were like, now we got to trade up and get a running back, like all this stuff. So credit to Sean and to George Payton for just playing it cool, sticking to their board, not, mortgaging away future picks, getting hasty with the running back situation, any situation, really, the wide receiver situation. Thought they showed good patience. They ended up getting good value in the draft. So, just not trading up, holding on to all your future picks, and still coming away with a solid 2025 draft class.
I was going to say, how would we be able to establish the impact of that 8 months from now?
You have your picks.
Well, and if those picks all have positive impact, Harvey, Bryant, Barron,
yes,
then that would be a strong case for that was way better than trading up and making that move. Good call by you. There's our guy Jose asking, Singleton coming from injury does not count. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, you could have gone not re-signing Cody Barton.
Yes, because that's a move, right?
Yeah, it's a move. It's kind of hater shit, though.
What's talking NFL without a little hate? You know.
So true. So true. Look at these beautiful, nice comments once again. Conga saying I needs to be on Broncos pods. FT. I don't know. I'm just a ball knower, so that I read that as free throws.
I see FT. I immediately think FaceTime.
FaceTime. Future, I think, is what he's going for. I'm guessing. Love that for us.
That
Love
too.
that for
FT
us.
does mean future as well.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, Nick asking, what about trading down and still getting the running back they wanted? Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. But I took RJ Harvey first round. I think that just counts with that.
That was a great segment. I want to see this on Buffs. I want the Broncos guys to bring this back. See if they can do it.
They should grade our draft. I'd love to hear what they have to say about it.
That'd be honestly, that's what Hank's role should be. He should be the draft grader, right?
I'm sure that's going to go over well. Tell him that.
Such a natural role. Let's take a quick break, Haruski, and then we'll be back talking some sliding doors. A whole concept we really got to unpack for you guys. But first, there's our guy. There he is. Toyota. That's right, folks. Toyota. What a beautiful, blessed car. We've got new spots in the back of the DNVR bar. This doesn't pertain
Best news of the day, by
to
the
you
way.
guys, by the way. So come all to the bar. We've got plenty of parking. Don't worry. This is our employee parking, right? There's a car that's, I assume, not ours in one of our spots.
Oh, no. We got to own those, bro.
I was ready to start hell, obviously. I look, it's a nice Toyota, though. It's like, damn, I kind of support them in their motor vehicle. Like, what can I do? So, that's just they're part of the family, even if someone driving it, parking in our spots might literally not be part of our family. As a Toyota driver, you're part of our family. You've got the perfect machine for Colorado. Trucks, SUVs, hybrid models. I mean, they kill it, man. They're reliable. They're fantastic cars. You get great mileage. Their service is immaculate. What can you not say about Toyota? I'm here sitting with the one guy who's been stranded on the highway.
Yeah.
Only one who could help. Toyota helpline. Bang, bang. There they are.
I mean,
2 years
saved
service.
our lives.
Who else can say that? Who else can say that the car they're endorsing saved their lives?
Stranded on the middle of Highway 36.
Who can... I mean,
what else were we supposed to do? Toyota came in clutch.
Toyota came in clutch. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. That's right, baby. I'm pointing at Yaya, who's just ignoring me. It looks like his producer Mike is giving him trouble. Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Toyota, let's go places.
Also, massive shout out to our friends over at Shady Rays.
Let's go.
Block out the haters this summer. Block out the sun this summer with our friends over at Shady Rays. Shady Rays been with us for a minute. I still have like my OG pair of Shady Rays. They're also Broncos blue and orange.
They're
incredible,
durable, and beautiful.
Yeah, no,
that's
throw them in the backpack.
Shady Rays,
I mean, I got a bunch of stuff in there. Could scratch them up, could break them.
Not Shady Rays.
Perfect every time. But shout out Shady Rays. They offer a world-class product. They're rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. They got tons of styles, colors, options, just galore. Go check them out over at shadyrays.com. And exclusively our listeners here at DNVR, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal this season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use that code DNVR. You'll get 35% off polarized sunglasses. And you can try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Okay. So how are you familiar with the concept of sliding doors?
Okay. So it's like if you're in a time machine.
Yeah.
and the door opens literally, and you see like your future basically, and so in a football sense, you talk about it, you analyze it, you just you do the jersey photoshops, everything, right? But then the door just slides a bit. Maybe it goes up a few floors, maybe it goes down, maybe it goes to the left, to the right, and there's a whole new reality in front of you. That's the one you step into. So sliding doors is looking back at those previews we got when we were in the time machine before we stepped out.
That's amazing. I guess like Bill Simmons will use this in his podcast
All the time. This is a big Bill Simmons.
It's an old school 1998 movie with Gwyneth Paltrow in it.
Would never have guessed this.
So the concept behind it is it's sliding doors is what it's called, because she's going to work, she misses the subway to go to work, and instead of just going late to work, just says, screw it, I'm going to go home. And in going home, finds her husband cheating, and it changes her life, right? And I think it's the two scenarios of her life finding that out and her life having just made the subway, right? It all came down to the subway door just closing, and in a moment. So yeah, it's what you explained, but that's the origin of it. For some reason, even though Gwyneth Paltrow's in it, it feels like a very European movie. So I'm always like, oh, maybe you don't know this concept. No, it's actually you just weren't conscious in 1998 to understand what the reference is. I
remember watching the Broncos win the Super Bowl then.
Yeah.
I don't remember this movie, though.
Right. Super Bowl 32, no doubt. So yeah, we took a few teams who came into last offseason, maybe with a new coach, maybe with a second, a coach going into their second year like the Broncos did, needing a quarterback. These were kind of the commonalities, and how those teams have approached the last two off seasons.
Okay.
So think of teams like the Raiders, the Titans, the Commanders, and the Seahawks. I thought these were really some classics. Maybe you could throw the Jets in there. Maybe you could throw, I don't know, the Saints in there. But you had an example for me. So I'll have you start us there. You want to save it?
I do want to say, let's go through this whole thing first, and then we'll kind of go through what the Broncos did or maybe didn't do the last two off seasons.
So sliding door now, and you can just pull up these graphics as we kind of chat through it. I think the most interesting sliding door to maybe start with is the Raiders. Because you could have simply, at pick 12 last year, as some would have advocated, just took Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Over Bo Nix. Had your tight end. No need for Evan Ingram this offseason. Who knows how bad you are? Maybe you're in a position where you could have drafted a top quarterback this year, though. It was kind of Cam Ward or bust. Or you could have been in a position where, like the Raiders, you trade for someone like a Geno Smith, give up a third rounder for him. That maybe precludes you from getting a Pat Bryant. Maybe you would have been in a situation where, like the Raiders, you had to hire a new coach this offseason. Who knows? Maybe you would have been bad enough to draft a Gentry, someone like that. But that's what the Raiders' three key moves, and we can go through some other moves as well. You know, they sound Christian Wilkins in free agency. JPJ was their big second rounder. Everyone thought they did such an amazing job in the draft last year, drafting the Oregon center. So yeah, that was very much a route they could have gone, and thank God they didn't. And went instead, key moves and drafting Knicks. Still got your tight end in Ingram this offseason. You draft Barron and everyone else the last two seasons. We'll see how Jonah Ellis pans out, Franklin, RJ Harvey, Pat Bryant, but certainly the improvements the defense has made from, the last two off seasons is noticeable. I think the other key factor is how that coach has been able to maximize the guys he did have on the roster.
Sure.
And obviously you don't have the Russell Wilson caveat of that dead cap, not having those picks and everything else. Anything you want to say on that?
I mean, the Raiders are obviously trying to take the fast track, right? You take a coach who is pretty close to the end of his career, and one of the oldest, if not the oldest in the NFL.
Yeah.
You take a quarterback who is a veteran, you trade for him, you put him on an extension, you draft a guy, 2 weapons in the first round, a tight end and running back. So it's clear that, I mean, they wanted to fix the offense, right? You bring in Pete Carroll, who's a defensive guy. You have a piece in Max Crosby there. They're just trying to, I think, do it as fast as possible, get back to playing 500 wild card-ish type football at this point. Because, I mean, let's be real, it's the Raiders. They haven't done that. I mean, they did that, 16 or whatever it was?
Yeah, right.
That's the only time this millennium.
Every 10 years, they have one season like that, and then it's back to being all.
Exactly. We hope they stay there forever. That's where they belong to be.
It's glorious.
Or deserve to be. But
Yes.
they obviously are trying to change things. So it's a different approach. It's somewhat of an aggressive approach, but it's like a low ceiling approach.
Yeah, and we kind of saw the Broncos take that similar approach, in that second half of the LA tenure at GM and vice president.
Exactly.
And it only goes so far, It just is a tough approach to do. Let's go Tennessee, on the other hand, who they're drafting 8th overall. So much higher than the Broncos were drafting or the Raiders were drafting. I'm sorry, 7th. Yes, we got it right on the graphic. Yeah, you're a beast, man.
Well done.
Nothing slips by this guy. Also, is the biggest John Elway fan in the office. So 7, he would never get 7 wrong. So 7th overall, and it's a weird spot in that 2024 draft, right? Because Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Marv, Joe Alt, and Malik Neighbors had all gone off the board at that point.
Right.
But they take Latham in front of Michael Penix, in front of J.J. McCarthy, in front of Bo Nix, in front of Olu Fashanu and Romo Dunze, and Brock Bowers, for that matter.
Yep.
They have that new coach in Callahan, who they retained, even though maybe not everyone would have. And then without really any noteworthy moves in the offseason, they get Cam Ward, 1st overall. They trade down in round 2 and end up with Olu Oladejo.
Mm-hmm.
And so skipping on a quarterback last year,
right,
puts them in a position where they're the worst team in the NFL and they can draft one this year. And then Sweat was the big 2nd rounder last year. Really nice pick, though he was drafted in front of Fisk, who's already looking like a star for the Rams. So I don't know.
And Cooper DeJean.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's worth noting, but I think, how much are those fans kicking themselves for skipping on quarterback last year and going after a right tackle from Alabama who struggled a bit when converted to left tackle this offseason.
All because you had to see what Will Levis could do.
I know.
Insane.
I know.
Especially when, as a Broncos fan sitting here, Bo Nix went how many picks after that? 4 picks after that?
5, yeah.
5 picks. Either way, we saw what Bo did last year. I'm sure they did too, and they probably were at some point damn, we missed.
Yeah.
I don't know what this team is doing, though, by the way. This is one of the weirdest rosters in the NFL, in my opinion.
My least favorite process of any team I analyze over a 2-year stretch. It's just what were you guys thinking?
Even Penix, he showed some promise. All 3 of those guys probably better than Will Levis last year. They're definitely not in this situation. Who knows? Maybe J.J. McCarthy still gets hurt.
And I like him all more than Ward.
I think so as well. That's what people were saying, comparing this year's draft to last year's, right? Cam Ward would have been, at best, 5th, 6th, maybe 4th quarterback taken in last year's draft. They definitely got to be kicking themselves over how they've handled the last year and a half, I think.
Yeah, it's been an odd one, and obviously I think a lot of it comes down to the coach, and it's tough when the coach doesn't really show you too much confidence that this is the right guy to build.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a building block like PS2 already on your defense. Peter Skoronski for them has been a little more,
Yeah.
And the Treylon Burks after the A.J. Brown trade didn't work out. But, like, again, we would have traded places with them in a second last offseason because you don't have the Russ stuff. You don't have the picks. And it just felt like such a cleaner. And it's crazy to think the Broncos were able to surpass them this much in just a 13-month span.
It's crazy. When you get the quarterback right, everything just starts to fall into place. And
the coach. I mean, those are kind of like connected, right?
Of course.
Like, I think as much as we would love to get in the weeds and analyze every draft pick these two teams made, I think this exercise kind of showing me like it really comes down to do those two key pieces.
Definitely.
And then there's a variety of ways to go about the rest of your roster.
Jose's right, though. There's no plan. They fired the GM in January. They promote from within.
That was tragic.
They go through this draft where they're picking number 1 overall with that. And, it's just the pieces don't fit together when you look at them roster-wise, in my opinion.
No doubt. So we're going to get into some other comp with teams. At least they did go get their quarterback. So in their defense, I think, the exercise is maybe all the quarterbacks never look super satisfying when they come in, but the important thing is just pulling the trigger and doing it sometimes.
I mean, they definitely feel better now than they did 5 months ago.
Yeah, no doubt. But we'll take a quick break. Then Jake's got a great example for us, and we've got two other teams who also address quarterbacks, so a little different that we'll get into. But first,
Not yet.
not yet. False alarm. False start. UC Health, DNVR Broncos is brought to you by UC Health, the preferred partner of athletes in Colorado. For inspiring health stories, go to uchealth.org for more information. UC Health, live extraordinary. And Jakester,
Yes, sir.
if you would tell our dear friends about Volo Sports and all the fun that Volo Sports leagues can be around town.
We all have to hang it up at some point, right?
Yeah, we do.
We all got to accept that, we're not going pro.
Right.
Maybe we missed our shot.
When did that moment come for you?
As soon as I finished high school.
Oh,
I was
really?
done. Yeah.
I think about like 5th grade. I was like, boy, it's not trending in the right direction here.
I mean, no, it wasn't happening after high school. I was done.
Yeah, I'm a great scout and analyst. Yaya's out here cracking up at me, but it's like, sometimes you just know early.
You're out of shape, bud. You're not making
You're like, man, I'm just
But
not
good
good
news,
enough
Dre.
against my peers.
Good news. You don't have to hang it up.
Let's go.
With our friends over at Volo Sports.
Let's go.
Volo offers, damn near everything. Soccer, volleyball, pickleball,
So
kickball,
much.
basketball, and many, many more. If you just, want to get those competitive juices flowing again.
Boy, do we.
Maybe just want to get in better shape, make some friends, whatever it is. Hang out just outside in the summer. Hit up our friends over at Volo. It's Denver's most popular provider of adult social sports leagues, pickup games, and events. You can sign up as a free agent, small group, full team, and all ability levels and backgrounds are welcome to join. Use code DNVR10 and you'll get $10 off any Volo Denver league. Shout out Volo. They're always here kicking it too. So
Beautiful,
Homies.
beautiful. True homies. Yep. Check out Volo Sports. That was great, man. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah, you adding some questions here? It looks like we've got some good ones, even if people not super chatting. Okay, we've got 3 so far. Good. Guys, I appreciate this so much. Keep leaving us thumbs up. Keep them coming on the Toyota chat. We'll get into it in just a second. The other sliding door example would be Washington, right?
yeah.
Washington obviously has the benefit of drafting 2nd overall, much like the Titans have the benefit of drafting 1st overall this year. But, they get it right with Jaden Daniels, at least early returns are. They also seem to have gotten it right with the Dan Quinn hire. Mm-hmm. Who, I was on the fence about. Like, those retreads are always a bit scary to me sometimes. Didn't really know what veteran move to put, so I just put the Debo trade. And they gave up a 5th rounder, so it wasn't anything crazy. I did think their draft last year was really intriguing, and I like what they executed in the draft this year, starting with Josh Connerly Jr., who's the third team we're analyzing that picked an Oregon offensive prospect with one of their first 2 picks in the last 2 drafts between JPJ, Bo Nix, and Josh Connerly Jr. Glad the Raiders got the worst of the bunch. So congrats to you guys on that.
Well done.
Yeah, it's the quarterback, man. And
You
it's
left
why
out
please.
the most important move that they've done in the last 2 years, though, and that's replace the owner, though.
I mean,
that
which
changed
is also
everything.
the example for the Broncos.
Sure, yeah.
That made such a difference.
But sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, another great example of the quarterback makes everything.
It does.
And it's why, to me, the constant glazing of the Browns drafts every time they trade downs, I don't know, guys. I swear I've seen this movie before. They passed on Josh Allen and Lamar and all those guys, and it's always trading down, and they traded out of the Wentz pick, right? And in the end, they were proven right. But all that means nothing until you have the stones to step up to the plate and make a call on someone. Mm-hmm. And maybe they lucked into this Shador thing, but again, you waited for him to fall to you in the 5th instead of having some conviction and going after your guy. And I just think at a certain point, you got to man up.
I mean, Sean Payton being the greatest example of that. Bo was his guy.
100%, man.
I mean, 100% his guy. He was locked in from, I don't know when he got locked in exactly, but it seemed like from that private workout they had with Bo Nix, that's really when Sean made up his mind. And it shows you just what conviction can do for you, because if you're convicted in a pick and you're completely sold on a guy, you're already thinking oh, I can do this with him. I can run this set. I can run this formation. The ideas just start going from that point on, as opposed to how do we make this work? It just free flows more naturally.
And Sean's really called his shot on these offensive skill players, kind of going away from the consensus rankings. And it's because he has a plan, and it's not even the RJ Harveys and the Bo Nix and the Pat Bryants. It's as simple as I think part of the way he's managed the last offseason is because he's got Troy Franklin in mind, because he does have Audric Estime in mind. For us, it's easy to be reactionary and what have you and be ready to move on from guys when they don't have a great rookie year or whatever. Mm-hmm. He's invested in this plan. He's invested in long-term development. And it's, you can analyze the moves ad nauseum, but it's the actual development of this roster that was missing before that has happened now. So yeah, and then let's go to Seattle, another example, and they have the benefit of being on the other side of the Russell Wilson trade, getting all those extra picks and what have you. And yet, once again, kind of spinning their wheels. They're going to see if the Sam Darnold experiment works after trading Geno away and adding a 3rd-round pick. So that's so many picks they've gotten from quarterbacks as of late between Russell Wilson and Geno. And yeah, last year you got Byron Murphy in 16th overall pick. So the Broncos, a highly touted Texas product. This year you get Gray Zabel, a couple picks before Jahdae Barron. We'll see how Darnold is. Obviously, some big moves with trading away DK and what have you. But, it kind of reminds me of where the Seahawks were before Pete Carroll, before Russell Wilson. Really good 7-9, 8-8 team that was just a quarterback away. And now, no matter years and decades later, all these picks, all these trades, kind of in the same exact spot.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It feels just kind of like the Raiders side of things, where it's
crazy.
This. I've seen this movie before. I lived through it.
Yes.
From 2016 to 2023, basically. There's you get into talking quarterbacks, right? And that conviction of being in on a draft pick, but also the other thing about being convicted and taking a draft pick and just taking a younger player is there's just more room to grow, obviously. With Sam Darnold, great year last year, obviously. Well-deserved payday. Good for him.
Big time.
Football sense, though, and you just traded away DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett's no longer there. I mean, you bring in Cooper Kupp. You still have JSN. Torrey Horton, nice pick as well.
Yeah.
It's just It's like they're trying to like fix the car while it's moving type of thing.
Yep. Yeah. So no, I mean, and outside of the Seahawks, the Broncos are the one who didn't have the benefit of a top 10 pick to kind of figure this all out, which is an added caveat of this. Like,
Well,
it's
they
easy.
did take the Broncos top 10 pick a couple years ago, I
Yeah,
guess.
they did. Right. And Devon Witherspoon, like, or Charles Cross.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. I don't want this to come off as like just a way to pump up the Broncos' last two off seasons, but there were a lot of ways to go about it. And I think it's worked out about as well as you could have hoped with this and the multitude of other moves and
Absolutely.
the off-season draft we just had and all that. Like, and it really all starts and ends with that Bo Nix pick at 12.
Of course. It always does at quarterback.
Because nothing else is possible without that.
Okay, are you ready for my
Please.
my
Yes,
caveat
I'm
here?
excited about this.
Okay. So given everything that we know right now, right? Everything that we talked about leading into this draft, should the Broncos be aggressive? Should they go up and should they go get Ashton Genty? The running back really became an important piece for this offense. The Joker became an important piece. A lot of talk about Travion Henderson, how he's the perfect fit for the offense. Why? Home run hitter, pass catcher out of the backfield, and then just a great running back. Instantly helps your running game, right? And while we're excited about RJ Harvey, I go back to the last offseason when Saquon Barkley was a free agent. And if
Yeah.
you know what you know now, and I mean, of course, benefit of hindsight,
Yep.
there were a lot of questions about Saquon kind of this time
Big
last
time.
year.
Big
Can
time.
he, is he still going to be a good player? Is there too much tread on the tires at this point? Are the injuries catching up? Whatever it was. What you know now, though, if you just broke the bank and went and got Saquon Barkley, you knew Bo was going to be just one of the best rookie quarterbacks in the league. You know that you're going to sign Evan Ingram. I mean, the Broncos would be in an incredible spot right now. Again, I'm in the weeds, but
Zach Bond, too.
that's another move, of course.
If you had a time machine as a Broncos front office guy, those two, starting with those two, would not be a bad way to go about addressing your offseason for sure. No, that's a really interesting one.
That was the one where it's like, damn, like it seems obvious now, of course, but there was some hesitation, I think, from a lot of people. And with
1,000%.
the Philly angle with him was kind of like sticking it to the Giants. That's a division rival type of thing too. Like if everyone knew what we knew now, I don't know if Saquon ends up in Philly, or maybe Philly ends up paying even more.
Yeah. And I mean, last year's free agent class, you've got Jacobs in there. You've got Derrick Henry as well.
Right.
Both those guys looked pretty good in their new landing
So, yeah, they
spots.
played it cool. We end up with RJ Harvey. I'm excited about it. I think a lot of people are, but
I'm interested to see the cap management once Russ's stuff comes off the books starting. You'll have this 2-year window
that
of
too, of course.
no
yeah.
Russ stuff and still having a quarterback on a rookie contract where I think the spending can get a little more creative. But, that's where you start losing some of these vets as well. So, I mean,
Right.
it's never an easy equation in free agency and free agency dollars. That's a big one, though, because, God, in this offense
I know.
would be unreal.
With Sean Payton.
Yeah, and forget the Genty pick.
Exactly.
That's the one. That's the move at running back. where it's like,
Exactly.
wow. Just think. No, I mean, it's true. Let's get to some of these questions.
Okay.
Let's hit OT. If you're following us on all the great smart TV channels, we are on Samsung TV, Roku TV, you name it, Vizio TV, and so much more. Jump on to our website, thednvr.com that's it. No slash. thednvr.com to catch us. We will keep going for the YouTube and audio listeners, and we'll get into some questions here. Starting with our guy. There you go. OT. Daniel Sepp here, who's asking, Barron taking someone's snaps from someone? McMillan? Probably. Moss? ? How many snaps does he get if no one gets injured?
Okay, I'll answer your question, but I'm going to say first, go listen to yesterday's draft pod. We kind of dug in on this what the Barron fit means for a lot of those positions,
Yes.
what the future projections for Barron would be as well.
And Jake's been pre-draft, Jake was big on Barron. He was his number one DB. So I think Jake has a really interesting perspective that maybe not all Broncos fans or listeners to this show have checked out. So I would tell you to go and check that out because I think there's some good stuff for sure.
Quickly, yes, it's obviously going to be McMillan, but part of the value of Barron was the versatility in positions. You know, can he play safety later in his career? You know, we've seen so many great players do that.
Yeah.
Can he go play outside corner? So all that's great, obviously, but part of that too is you don't have to force this stuff with Barron because he's so good out of the slot. He's a clear upgrade over McMillan on the side. I think we all like Jaquan. He did some really good things the last few seasons.
Love him.
It's a clear upgrade in the slot.
Yeah.
And while he can play outside, he can play safety, he can do all these things. That's where, you know, as a year one rookie, I mean, just let the guy do what he does best. We'll figure out the rest later. But yeah, again, go check out yesterday's draft show if you're looking for more on that.
Yeah, Barron's cover skills make him a more reliable guy who can cover a greater variety of receivers, tight ends, running backs from that slot position. So that's why we'd say Jaquan off the bat. I think he also, because of that 4.39, because of what he did at Texas, allows you to pick and choose some matchups to where you have a Ladd McConkey lined up outside. Well, that might be a guy you want Jade to follow and put Riley inside. Mm-hmm. You have a Xavier Worthy going outside now with help over the top, right? That might be somewhere where it's like you pick and choose and you have Riley come off that matchup and Jade. So I think you can also pick and choose some of those outside matchups with the smaller, maybe speedier wideouts as well. So yeah, it's Jaquan in the immediate, but I think you can also pick and choose some outside matchups where he can spot Riley and give you 10 to 20 snaps on the outside, starting off pretty early too. So
yeah, I'd expect spot duty. I wouldn't expect to see him be just
100%.
You know, a different lineup every game type of player at this point in his career.
100%.
We'll get there.
UTN Pod asking in the Toyota chat, what y'all think of Caleb Lohner?
It's the ideal, you know, 7th round pick. An athlete, you know, maybe raw in the game, of course, but the physical intangibles are just physical tangibles actually are just off the charts. Like you can see exactly the vision, and being Sean Payton, obviously you go to Jimmy Graham. Like, so I mean, if I'm never going to complain about a 7th round pick anyways, but this is about as good as it gets for a 7th round pick.
I think in the immediate, he's going to be a sneaky good field goal block specialist.
Sure.
And red zone weapon where like Jake saw him live against DJ McKinley, a guy who's getting mocked in these way too early mocks to be a potential first rounder at cornerback for the Buffs. And he just like, boxes him out, gets in front, and like DJ can't even get his hands within a foot of the ball.
And DJ's got long arms too.
Yeah,
man.
100%. He's just not a 6'7" former basketball player.
Exactly.
Who runs a 4.6. So I think early on, you have to pick and choose your spots. His utility will be limited. But yeah, as Jake said, you see the vision, you see the intrigue for potential mismatch and big play getter. So yeah, that's he makes a lot of sense for the Broncos. Okay, William Catalano in the Toyota chat saying maybe they got mad at Caleb for showing it off and said, nah, he isn't our type of guy. Showing what off?
We're talking about Caleb Johnson?
Caleb Johnson.
I seriously doubt that that's why they pulled the trigger.
I would too. Also, that was kind of public knowledge. Now, the fact that they had him in for a visit probably tells you they were at least interested. Here's what I'll say about Caleb Johnson. Randomly was watching him yesterday because I was watching some Oladejo, the second rounder for the Titans, preparing for this segment. And he had a big game against Iowa, 4 tackles for a loss. So I'm watching him, UCLA, Iowa. And Caleb Johnson has so many negative plays, man. So many.
Look.
And he had the slowest 10-yard split of any running back at the combine. It translates the data from the combine directly relates to what I see on tape, which is he's a big back. Once he gets ahead of steam, he's one of the better home run hitters and long run specialists in this class. But there are just too many runs where he's going to be stopped before he can even start. And next thing you know, it's 2nd and 13 or 2nd and 13, and you're behind the 8 ball. And the comp for me was Melvin Gordon, who, like, again, there's plenty of nice big plays, but that not keeping your offense on schedule is tough. And he just wasn't the size of a Derrick Henry. So he's not like, okay, we'll take that because once we get him in space, we know he's a locomotive and there's no stopping him. It's like, no, he's a 227-pound back. He's not pushing 240.
I mean, look, I understand why a lot of people liked him. He wasn't one of my favorite running back prospects.
Yeah.
The speed, I think, is slightly underrated when it comes to Caleb Johnson, but you got to look at, we talked about the Joker all offseason pretty much. He does not fit that role. And you already have someone who kind of is his role in Audric Estime on the roster already. So I think he would have been a bit redundant to add to this team. I think RJ Harvey just allows you more options. It gives you more big play threat and makes you just more dynamic on offense than Caleb Johnson would have. So I wasn't upset. I actually really like the Harvey pick. I think he's a really good player. So.
Well, and you were big on those Big 12 backs, and you saw him. You've been pounding the table for guys like Harvey for a minute. Alfred Stewart asking any update on those numbers since rookie camp started an hour ago. Zach will get you the reporting. He thought they would be in by today-ish. Daniel Sepp with a good question. Okay. Tobias FDBF asking, quick question. If we play the London game, do we have a bye week after that?
Isn't that a rule that
typically
you have to?
That's what happens, but that's one of those where the regular Broncos crew would really be dialed on that. And Daniel Sepp with another question asking what Broncos backups could be an upgrade over the projected starter.
Oh, man.
A couple obvious ones would be at center. I think Clay Webb, who they signed as an undrafted free agent, could be more talented than Waddy. How long does it take him to get there? I don't know. But this is a high school recruit who was ranked ahead of Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. It's kind of funny.
Crazy.
Funny to say. And then I'd say Jonah Ellis. I think on paper, I would argue Jonah Ellis more talented than Jonathan Cooper.
Yeah, you nailed, I think, the good ones there.
There's not a ton.
Don't sleep on Pat Bryant to make an impact and move up the depth chart.
And I could make a Franklin argument, too.
I'll let you do that.
Yeah. As far as just raw talent. But then it's like, well, who are the 3 starters in front of him? I don't know. We won't get too in the weeds. This was amazing. Thank you all so much. Leave us a thumbs up on the way out.
Love chat.
Thank you, Jake. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Yaya on the 1s and 2s. And shout out to our guys. Hope they're enjoying Mexico. So mad love. Have a great weekend. Go Nuggets. And we will see you on Monday. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.